Hi, good morning, everyone, and sorry for the delay. I had some work, that's why it got a little delayed. But let's get started quickly. Let me share my screen, and please confirm me if you all are able to see my screen. Okay, let me mute the tabs. Okay, okay. I hope you all are able to hear me properly, and I hope you all are able to see the screen. Please confirm me once in the chat box. Okay. Wait, let me check. Yeah, so I think I've got the confirmation from the team as well that they're able to see. Okay. Uh, so see, honestly, nothing much has changed from what we had discussed last, because more or less, if you see, the market is range bound and it is actually not doing anything. So just to give you a sense of what the Nifty is doing, basically, it's in a sideways sort of trend. If you see the hourly chart, you'll understand this, that you know it is probably just consolidating like this. Now the only thing is that we generally give a lot of importance to the negative and the positive close and so on. So that's where maybe it can so happen that we might also end up getting a break above this and still be sideways. So that's where the ultimate reversal level to watch out for is actually this zone, this specific zone. But we might get a better confirmation once actually this trend line gets broken, which is if I connect from the high to high, which is around here. Okay, so this level has now come down to almost around 29 uh, 980 or so, and coincidentally even that is the previous high as well. Okay, oh sorry, it's 24 970, so somewhere around 24 970, 24 980, that is where the reversal is. Until then, there is a possibility that we might end up getting some sideways consolidation. And yeah, basically that is there. And see, even today what we are seeing is a rotation, which means IT has made a comeback. That is because Infi announced its buyback and the rest of the sectors are down. So this is what we are likely to get in the near term, basically a lot of rotation, and we'll have to live with it. Okay, there is no other way to deal with this. But that's where checking levels and trading based on levels will become important. Even if you see the bank nifty index is also struggling a bit. And over here as well, what we would want to see is a break above the daily averages. Okay, that's where the momentum will start kicking in. And we have discussed this, that bank nifty has been falling in sort of this downward sloping channel. Okay, if we extend this, so more or less bank nifty is doing something like this, and that's where we need to break above the 40-day exponential average to get things going. But yeah, I mean, until then, we might get this dull sort of movement. In terms of sector, we have discussed this earlier also. Auto, which has been doing well, I think that should continue, but maybe the pace of the up move now will slow down significantly. Okay, because this was like an inverse HNS pattern, from where auto has broken out. So even if I want to measure the size and the length of the move, what I'll do is that from the lowest point, I'll take the area up till the neckline and do that. Okay, now that leads a move almost around 30,500 or so. Okay, that 30,500 is basically the pattern target of the auto index, and which is like 10% away. But please understand that we have seen a very sharp move over here, and maybe that's where uh, the all-time high, which is over here. Okay, So somewhere over here, there is a possibility that the Nifty Auto Index might halt, get sideways, and then only it might see something meaningful. So that is there. One sector that you need to watch very closely is metal. So metal index is almost back to the previous high. Yesterday it sold off from there, from the highest point. This is like a shooting star, or you can even call it a gravestone doji. So this high needs to be cleared, and the best thing that can happen is that this high breaks on a closing basis. Okay, if it's broken on a closing basis, then that is even better. But yeah, I mean, on the daily chart and so on, if you see, we have sort of seen a breakout. Now the only thing is that the Nifty Metal Index needs to break and sustain above this. Okay, there was someone who had asked the question yesterday, that can we compare metal to metal. At that time, actually, there was some issue with RRG, but now it's working fine, and I'll show you. So see, if I see that metal is metal is doing well, then within the metal sector, you can see this, and you can keep the benchmark as metal, and you can compare it. Okay, you can even add stocks over here. This of course will not be saved, but you will be able to add stocks over here. So say for example, let me just, I think we had seen some stock, we had discussed about some stock which was in metal. Maharashtra Seamless, I guess. Yeah, Maharashtra Seamless. Okay, so if I add it over here, it will come. So this is Maharashtra Seamless, but you can see that the momentum is going down. Even in the weekly, it is so very much going down. So that's where you might want to wait for a turnaround in that. Okay, but yes, I mean, you will be able to gauge the stocks and keep the benchmark metal index once you go inside the metal index. Okay. Then the other thing is that basically, even in the up move that we are seeing, what I'm noticing that is that the FIs are not really unwinding also. So basically, now the activity has gone dull. Even on the up move, they are not covering, and in fact, because they have reached sort of an extreme. So over there, the incremental shorting is also not happening much. It has gone very slow from here. Now, as I have been mentioning for quite some time now, we need to wait for this trend line to break. Okay, this will be the first sign, and the final confirmation will come after this. Now I am actually hearing a lot that that US will put some secondary sanction on India. Then maybe the IT sector might also get sanctioned and so on. I mean, all those things are rumors which are there, but when I'm seeing the price action, we are not seeing a correction, which means maybe, I mean, market is so far not taking it seriously. But again, these are all developing situations, and we know how erratic Trump can get. So the basic idea is wait for the confirmation. Okay, maybe one might want to keep the position a little light because of the drama that is going on, and wait for the confirmation. Okay, which means that if you want to be bullish, then wait for this zone to be broken on the upside to be aggressively bullish. Else, just be opportunistic. As had someone had asked yesterday, like how to take trades for 2 to 3 days, I had mentioned about RMI. I'll briefly talk about that as well. How do we how do we take those trades? Where you might just want to do a trade with a small quantity, and just test if things are working in your favor or no. But that's about it. I wouldn't honestly recommend a very aggressive position at this point of time. Okay, that is because this can either be, this could be a triangular pattern which could still be forming. Okay, so it can so happen that it rises over here, pullbacks over here, and only then moves higher. That can happen. because when we do the Elliott wave count, it basically means A, B, C, D, E. Okay. So this is just a bit of Elliott wave that we try and do. So that's where, the worst case scenario is this at this point of time. Uh, if someone tells me, what about this HNS that we have been discussing? So see, this possibility is definitely there. But given the way things are, I would assign a less probability of that. The fear of HNS will become real when this support zone is broken decisively on the downside. I mean, that's where the risk will open up, probably till this low, or maybe till this gap zone as well. Okay. But as long as the low of somewhere around that 24,450 to 24,300 zone is held, I think we are okay. We are not in that bad shape. And the encouraging signs that we are getting from many of the indices. One index that has absolutely been a bit of a disappointment for me. I did not expect that will go down, but it is FMCG. I mean, there was a very promising breakout from the previous high, but it ended up uh, correcting, and it did not really give a breakout above it. So that is one disappointment. But the thing is that there are many other sectors that are starting to look up. So let me just quickly scan through the RRG and see if I can find any interesting sector where the setup is good. uh, Let me take the weekly one, because weekly is where we might have positional moves. But see, in most of the indices, the issue is that the momentum is falling. It is only auto that is rising higher. But I don't know. Somehow I feel a little uncomfortable with auto given the current situation. I mean, if you might be holding, then it's good to trail, but maybe a fresh entry, I feel it's a little too risky at this point. Even in sectors, as you all can see that almost everywhere the momentum is dipping down. So even that is not so ideal. FMCG is the only one, because we calculate the rate of change. So that's why, despite some bit of underperformance or cooling off from the top as well, it is still rising higher, because in the rate of change terms, it has been doing well. The expectation then would be that if it comes to the weekly, if it cuts into the leading quadrant, maybe that would be the time when we might end up getting that much awaited breakout as well. That we are trying to anticipate, which is which is basically breaking out from this range. So let's see how things unfold. But today, honestly, there is no major thing to discuss. All the indicators that I saw, they are somewhere in the middle only. So, it can go either ways. And given the erratic, nature of Trump and the news flow that is there, that's where, I wouldn't want to bet very aggressively. The bias is that eventually the breakout should happen on the upside, but, we would want to wait for the setup. Ideally, even swing, as you can see, has been dipping lower. While the market is going up, that means many of the stocks are losing momentum, and this is ideally not a good sign. But I would feel that if we end up breaking above the high, then you will again see the momentum picking back and maybe even going to the higher levels. So that is what we need to watch out for. No concrete trend as such. This is more of a wait and watch kind of mode that we have to that basically we have to monitor. And in terms of levels, as I mentioned once again, 24,980, 970 is where the resistance is. And maybe you might want to keep this higher low as well as the watching point, that is 24,522, and we take it from there. Okay. Until it does not break on either side, we'll see. In fact, I think in RRG there was one interesting setup that was actually in metal, which I recall last week. So in weekly, what was happening is that the metal, okay. So over here, basically, it was turning around, but this week we are seeing a minor dip. So we'll have to wait and see how the weekend closing will be. But over here, this was turning, and in fact, even in daily, it had cut to the leading. In daily, you can see there is a very strong rise in momentum as well as relative strength. So that is a good sign. But on daily, Bank Nifty is showing some sign of a turnaround. And Bank Nifty also we discussed, right? Uh, so let me just take the chart. Bank Nifty also, if you remember, the important development is basically this: a positive weekly close after a correction. So now this low becomes a very important support level. If this low holds, then I would expect initially that the averages will be tested, and once this averages are broken, you might get some very good bullish momentum over here as well. So that's there. And infrastructure and healthcare, no, healthcare is the one that is turning around a bit. I'll check that chart. Media, commodities are there. Okay, let me see what are there in commodities, because metals also fall under commodities, and just want to see what is doing well. So it is Tata Steel, NMDC, Coal India, Jindal Steel, Hindustan Pet. Okay, so even all the oil marketing company seems to be doing okay. Tata Power is there. Grasim, Ultratech Cement. These are all into weakening, but we need to wait for a turnaround. JSW Steel has already turned around. So let me just check the chart of JSW Steel. Okay, so it is also trying to break out from this resistance zone. So even JSW Steel actually looks interesting. It had broken out yesterday only, and that's why we are seeing this turnaround also from the weakening. Let me also check its position on a weekly. Okay, so even in weekly, it is actually cutting into leading. So this setup can become very interesting, maybe worth watching. What it does over here. But I think, yeah, when we look at RRG, mainly it is metals which is showing strength even in daily and in weekly. Also, there was some momentum that was seen last week. Need to see how the closing happens this week. So I think that's about it. I mean, majorly we don't have much to discuss today. It's a very lackluster market today. So if you all have any questions, so Mahesh has a question. If any stock or index giving weekly crossover below zero line and above zero line is there, and above zero line is there any price trend difference whenever the crossover is happening? So see, Mahesh, I think I had explained this yesterday, but I'll explain you once again. Let me take the help of paint and you will be able to get it. Mm, See, say for example, this is RMI. Okay. Okay. Now this on top, I will try to do the price action as well. Let me take black. Okay. So now this is when the turnaround is happening. Okay. So basically, somewhere over here, you will get that signal, right? But please understand one thing: if the stock has been falling prior, okay, so there will be, say, this is the 20-day average, okay, and this is, say, your 40-day average, right? So a crossover happening, but the prices are below the averages does not assure you that the up move will keep happening. I mean, it will eventually rise higher. But if I had, say, this setup, and on the other hand, if I have something like this setup, sorry. And mind you, this is your basically your zero line. Okay, this is your zero line. So if that is the case, now say for example, so first let me also draw the zero line. So now you have a case where RMI is like this. Okay, something like this, right? And your prices, okay, like this. And in this case, basically the averages are say something like this. Okay, so the two average that we follow is 20 and 40. Okay, if the prices are above the two averages, I mean, if it is above both the averages, then ideally it will not come back to zero only. It's only when the 20-day breaks and it tests the 40 week, I mean, 40 whatever period, that's where the RMI will go around the zero line. Okay, and from there, when it turns around, this assures us that this was just a consolidation and it is going to move higher. But in this case, it can so happen that the averages get tested over here and the prices can decline as well. In which case, basically, RMI will do something like this and it will give a negative crossover. Okay. So, prices below the weekly averages, it suggests that it is a weak trend. Similarly, when the prices are rising higher, okay, and the averages are somewhere over here, but at the same time, RMI turns down over here only, right? And zero line is over here. So as long as the prices does not break that 20 period, it is still possible that it will keep extending, in which case basically RMI can also behave something like this, right? It can behave something like this. So that's where we give a lot of importance to 20 week and so on. So say just for example, if you see Nifty, okay, so Nifty, you can see that the crossover had happened over here. Now, this was still the point where we were not really bearish. That is because the prices were holding above the 20 week. Sorry, in this case, this is 20 daily. It's only when the 20-day broke on the downside, then there was a risk of a 40 to play out. Now, this holds true for everything. Now, you will see that monthly, I mean, you might ask me that why you're sounding so bullish. The RMI is in sell for the monthly, but the main thing is that it is above the 20-month average so far. Okay, and you can see that in this entire case, okay, for the bank Nifty as well, it broke for a brief while, it almost touched to 40. Okay, but from there you can see that every time it has come to 20 and it has kept extending, right? So this is actually this scenario that is playing out on the monthly chart. And that's where, as long as the monthly 20 month does not break, okay, this I'm talking from a very medium to long term perspective, then this is the case. Now in weekly, what has happened is that 20 week has broken, it has come back to the 40, and RMI has also come back to zero. Now in the weekly, it would be important to watch when the turnaround happens and when we get a crossover. Now say something like this happens and the prices break above this previous high or the falling channel and we have this bullish crossover, this will be an indication that this was an up move, this was a consolidation, and now another leg of up move is happening. But if you have say something like index, okay, so where this is still falling, right, and say you have a case something like this where it has fallen further, but it has fallen further and it is over here, and you have the RMI set up something like this. Okay, it is trying to give a crossover somewhere over here. Then this will be a weak buy. Okay, that is mainly because the averages might be still below the prices. Okay, so I hope you understand the importance of RMI, and that's where you need a price confirmation and you need this setup of averages. That's why if you see even in our RMI setup, I mean, this is the pattern that we use, right? That's why we have just simply given a predefined template over here. Okay. So I hope this makes that concept clear for you, that which are the ones that you need to give more weightage to. Okay, Hemant, Marksans Pharma or InfoEdge. So Marksans Pharma is actually interesting. I'll tell you why. I mean, I had seen that through some of the scanner. I think it had come to that oversold zone. So Marksans Pharma, the reason it looks interesting is because I think it is approaching somewhere around its monthly averages or so, if I'm not wrong. Mm, yeah. So as you can see over here, it is almost come back to the monthly average. Okay. Let me add it and let me hide the Bollinger Band. So it has almost come back to the monthly average, and that's where it is looking interesting. I think even if we draw a parallel channel, okay, to try to find the lower level where it can find support, so that comes to somewhere over here, right? That comes to somewhere around these levels. So we need to see. I mean, so what I try and do is that I try to apply averages, this and the retracement level to find where is it that a convergence of lot of things are happening. So say for example, if I take this high, so you can see that the 61.8% is almost around 163.92, okay, which is where the 40 month is. So basically, this can be a nice stock to watch out for a turnaround. But as you know, I mean, pharma stocks are very volatile as well, especially the small mid ones. I mean, at least wait for the prices to come above the daily averages. Okay, at least daily averages. So maybe over here you might want to position size and try to buy on strength. But maybe this is definitely one stock that is worth keeping on radar. I was checking this stock, and I think it was in RSI scanner or something like that only, where the RSI was very low, and that's why this stock had come on my radar. Info Edge, I have not. Naukri. Info Edge, I need to see what the setup is. Let me just. Mm, so over here also it is below the weekly averages, and that's where it makes me a little uncomfortable. And it is not back to the zero line as well. So it might maybe take a little bit of more consolidation, because this is monthly chart. So you might have to wait for one or two candle more for it to come down to zero. That's where maybe this can become an interesting setup. But again, need to wait and watch. But immediately, I don't know, looking at the chart, it doesn't really look that convincing. Uh, Mahesh, can you check Hindustan Zinc daily and weekly? How to see crossovers? Price action is very choppy. Let me try to take in Zinc. So in Hinzink, you're right. On daily, it has given. But see, this is what exactly I was trying to tell. That your crossover has happened, but it is below the weekly averages. So that's where this is like a major resistance zone for. Yeah. So this is like a major resistance zone for Hinzing, right? If this zone is cleared and the RMI is in bullish mode, then it's a good sign. But I need to see where the monthly is. Okay. So see, monthly is coming at a point where enough consolidation is happening. So basically, now what you might have to do is that try to go on a lower time frame and find the reversal point. If those reversal point occurs, then maybe there can be a chance of a turnaround in this, because this stock has also fallen relentlessly. And in fact, if I'm not wrong, it is a silver producer and silver prices are at an all-time high. So maybe this one can become interesting. I think when I was checking RRG also, I had seen some some sort of turnaround in Hinzing. If I do metal, okay, and I see Hindustan Zinc. So you can see that on daily, at least the momentum has started to inch higher. Oh, sorry, this is weekly. So in weekly, there seems to be some uptick in momentum. In daily, it was in leading, but the momentum is falling. So maybe in daily, you might want to wait for that turnaround to happen, at least in the momentum. Maybe that's where it can get interesting. So I hope, Mahesh, you understood how to analyze through RMI. And I think when you even look at RMI, just check the positioning on the RRG as well. It will really be helpful. I mean, because I've been using RRG now for 1 year or so, I feel you know momentum is basically something to watch out for. Okay, like you see over here, Lloyd Metals, a turnaround is happening. You know, when such sort of patterns occur, go on a lower time frame, whatever you're comfortable, daily or hourly or whatever it is, and try to see if we are seeing signs of a turnaround or no. If yes, then we can end up seeing some decent move in the short term, at least from say in 2 to 3 weeks perspective. Okay. Himanshu, I need invoice for the payment. So, Himanshu, I will check with the team and I'll try to uh, tell them to contact you. But, you can raise a ticket over here, go to help, go to raise a ticket, and, here you choose the relevant category like help and, other, and you can say that need invoice. Someone will contact you. But anyways, given that you have told me over here, I'll surely tell the team to find your contact and contact you back. PNB Bank, PNB Bank. Let me see. It's in a PSU bank basket. PNB, where is it? PNB. Okay, so over here, momentum seems to be rising. On weekly chart, the momentum is falling. Okay, so let me check the chart. Sorry, PNB, no? So yeah, see, this is the same case. Daily averages needs to break. Then it's so far in a downward sloping, means somewhere over here. So basically, this is like a major resistance zone for PNB, which is in terms of level is 104.5 to 105.50. I mean, this range needs to be broken upside on the upside. Then there is a case for an up move, probably till this high and above. Okay, but yeah, I mean there are some early signs of reversal. You need to wait for a pickup on the daily chart. Sorry, the next question is, how do you check Stride platform for pair trading? So for pair trading, we have thought some interesting idea, but for now, you can go to the ratio chart. I have created many ratio charts over here. Okay. So what you can do is that, say for example, Nifty to Bank Nifty, if you want to check. Okay. I had created. So there are many such thing that I've created. Yeah, Nifty to Bank Nifty, right? Then you can see the ratio over here. Okay. So the thing is that when you do Nifty to Bank Nifty, okay, whenever the ratio is rising, that means numerator is outperforming. Whenever the ratio is falling, that means the numerator is underperforming. Okay. While I was checking this, one interesting pair I saw was Infi to TCS. Okay. And in Infi to TCS, actually, what we are seeing is that the outperformance from Infi is almost at the highest point that it has seen for a very very long time. But yes, see, this range is basically over here, right? So typically when this ratio comes to around 0.51 or so, that's where Infi starts underperforming. But yeah, this is some time away. But here also, I mean, in ratio charts also, I have seen applying trend lines and all also helps a lot. So say for example, if this ratio breaks on the downside, then you have to be careful. Then there is a chance that TCS can outperform in fee. So this is possible. You just need to go to the ratio chart and you can check it. So that can help you. So over here, those pairs can be made easily. You just have to select two symbols and add pair. Okay, and you can see the hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. So okay, so yes, so Cohen's and there is one more stock, Acutas. Okay, there actually some symbol change has happened due to which the issue is happening. Uh, I have already mentioned this to the team. As I mentioned that there are some 12, 13 issues that are there. We plan it to fix all those things in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Please bear with us. We'll get all those things sorted. Okay. Mahesh, thank you very much. Now got more clarity. Sure, sure, Mahesh. You explore this. If you have further more issues or or you're facing some different patterns, you let me know. I'll be happy to explain you further. Also, when typing Larsen Tubro Geo Financial is seen. Larsen. No, I'm typing Larsen over here. See, if you do, because you see, our system will search either from this name, that means you will have to do and over here, only then it will appear. And if you do LT, only then it will come. Okay. So maybe in LT there are a lot of things. So that's why you can do Larson. Let me click on overview. So yes, a proper chart is opening. I'm not sure why that is happening in your case. Himanshu. Okay, sure, Himanshu. I'll see at yeah. I mean, few days back there were a lot of tickets that we had got due to the system issue. Maybe that's where it might have got missed. But I'll definitely contact them. I mean, I'll definitely tell them to get back to you, please. Okay. Sorry for that. I mean, usually we don't ignore the tickets, but if it has got ignored, then please wait. Okay, I'll ask someone from the team to call you back. Can RSI remain elevated during non-bullish phase? Like I remember, trend remained. Yes, Hemant. So it can remain bullish for a long time. I mean, in fact, if you are seeing we are seeing this right now in gold. I'm not sure how many people are aware of this, but the monthly and the weekly RSI are almost at high 80s levels. I mean, approaching very close to the 90 level, right? If you see quarterly, it is also almost 86. So yes, you're right. It can remain higher for longer. All you need to do is wait for the reversal. You check the weekly chart and you will realize that the 20 week is not broken at all, right? So this is what happens. So that's why preempting a turnaround only based on RSI is not right, and that's why I keep telling, for any indicator you need to look at price action as well as the indicator. Only then it makes sense. So if the RSI is bullish, that alone is not a criteria to go and sell. You need a price action reversal as well, and mostly during non bullish markets. Okay, not bullish. I mean, that stock might be in a bull run. That's why it would be 90. So don't think of it as in terms of market, but think of it from a perspective of what trend in that stock is. Just to give you a context, I think Bajaj Finance used to be overbought for a very, very, very long time. Okay, you can see over here 90, again coming back to 70, 90. So it used to trade at a very elevated level for a very long time, and even quarterly it had gone to 97. Okay, 95. So RSI alone, I mean, it being in 80s, 90s, does not tell you that you have to go and sell right away. Okay. uh, so Mohan, yeah, thanks. Okay, so I think we are done for the day. It's 11:45. Thanks for the discussion. There were some very interesting questions today, and I hope you all got the clarity as well for RMI, especially how to trade on it. I've been using it for a while now, and find it very helpful to find stocks based on that. And that's where we ended up. We thought of creating the RMI scanner to quickly, analyze the stock. So that's about it. And Himanshu, please wait for a while. I'll ask someone from the team to call you back. Okay. Thanks a lot once again for joining today. And sorry. So thanks a lot once again for joining today. I hope to catch up with you tomorrow. If at all, we don't do any session, please assume that there might be some emergency due to which the session is not done. And yes, one more thing that I wanted to clarify was that people had asked about yesterday's webinar. We would not be posting that because Rohit sir mentioned not to do that because there was a lot of stuff that we actually teach in our mentorship. Okay, that was being discussed over there. So it was just for those private guys. I mean, for those guys who attended for that week. In fact, the coming week on Sunday, I'll be doing a webinar on insider trading, and it will be on a Zoom link. Okay, so you will be able to, uh, actually ask the question. We can interact over there. So please do join us for those events. The links will be out soon. So it's basically on Sunday around 10 a.m. or so. Okay. Uh, so yeah, thanks a lot. That's all I wanted to say. And yes, Himanshu, someone will contact you. Please wait for a call. Okay. Thanks a lot, and see you tomorrow.